Did you know that some of the world's most exquisite perfumes have roots in ancient Arab techniques that date back over 1,000 years? While luxury brands charge hundreds of dollars for a small bottle, traditional Arab perfumers can create intoxicating fragrances for mere pennies. But how is this possible in today's expensive world? Are these traditional methods still effective, and can they truly compete with modern manufacturing? In 2024 alone, the global perfume market reached a staggering $45.6 billion, with luxury brands dominating sales. Yet in homes across the Arab world, families continue to create personalized fragrances using techniques passed down through generations at a fraction of the cost. Today, we'll uncover the ancient secrets behind this remarkable tradition and reveal exactly how Arabs make perfume for pennies. The story of Arab perfumery begins in the 9th century during the Islamic Golden Age, when a brilliant polymath named Al-Kindi wrote the Book of the Chemistry of Perfume and Distillations. This revolutionary text contained over 100 recipes for aromatic waters, fragrant oils, and perfumed salves, making him the father of modern perfumery. What's fascinating is that many of Al-Kindi's recipes were specifically designed as cost-effective alternatives to expensive ingredients, proving that creating affordable perfumes has been a part of Arab tradition for centuries. While the luxury perfume houses of Paris and New York guard their formulas behind expensive marketing campaigns, Arab perfume-making traditions have remained surprisingly accessible. In Saudi Arabia alone, traditional perfume sales reached $5.4 billion in 2023, with home production accounting for an estimated 15% of all fragrances used. Meanwhile, in the UAE, the traditional perfume market grew by 8.7% in 2024, outpacing growth in the Western perfume sector. But what exactly makes Arab perfumery different? And how can these traditional methods create complex, long-lasting scents for just pennies when commercial alternatives cost so much? Let's find out by exploring the entire process, from raw ingredients to finished fragrance. Where do the raw materials for traditional Arab perfumes come from? Unlike commercial perfumes that rely on expensive synthetic compounds created in laboratories, traditional Arab perfumes utilize locally available natural ingredients. The most common include roses, jasmine, sandalwood, frankincense, and the legendary Arabian rose from Taif. Commercial perfume houses might pay hundreds of dollars for a small quantity of essential oils, but Arab perfumers often source their materials directly from nature. In countries like Morocco, Egypt, and Saudi Arabia, many families maintain small gardens specifically for perfume making, essentially eliminating raw material costs entirely. For those who don't grow their own flowers, local markets offer fresh petals at remarkably low prices. In 2025, a full pound of fresh rose petals costs approximately $2 in markets across the Middle East, enough to make several batches of perfume. Compare this to commercial rose absolute, which can cost upwards of $400 per ounce when purchased from suppliers. Additionally, carrier oils like jojoba or sweet almond oil, essential components in traditional perfumery, can be purchased in bulk for around 15 per 100 ml, providing enough base material for dozens of perfume batches. When calculated per application, the cost amounts to mere pennies. But perhaps the most interesting aspect is how these ingredients are processed. While modern perfume factories use expensive distillation equipment and complex chemical processes, traditional Arab methods require nothing more than basic kitchen tools. Let's examine these fascinating techniques up close. The most widespread traditional method for creating affordable perfumes is attar making, a technique that has remained virtually unchanged for centuries. This process begins with freshly harvested flower petals, most commonly roses, jasmine, or orange blossoms, which are carefully picked in the early morning when their fragrance is most potent. First, a carrier oil is gently heated to approximately 60 degrees, 140°. Jojoba oil is preferred for its long shelf life and minimal scent, allowing the floral fragrances to shine through. The heated oil must reach the precise temperature that will encourage the release of aromatic compounds without burning the delicate petals. Next, the fresh flower petals are crushed gently and added to the warmed carrier oil. Using wooden tools to avoid metallic contamination, the petals are submerged and left to simmer for exactly 20 to 30 minutes. During this critical period, the heat causes the cell walls of the petals to rupture, releasing their precious aromatic compounds into the oil. After simmering, the mixture is removed from heat and allowed to cool naturally for 24 hours, giving the oil time to fully absorb the floral essence. The oil is then carefully strained through cheesecloth, with gentle pressure applied to extract every drop of scented oil from the spent petals. For more complex fragrances, small amounts of essential oils may be added. Just 7 to 8 drops is sufficient for a 100 ml batch. Common additions include lavender for relaxation, sandalwood for warmth, or lemon for brightness. At around $5 per bottle of essential oil, which can scent dozens of batches, the cost per use remains negligible. The final step involves aging the perfume oil for 3 to 4 weeks in a cool, dark place, allowing the scents to meld and mature. This patience is rewarded with a deeper, more complex fragrance that develops character over time, a quality that even expensive commercial perfumes sometimes lack. The entire process costs less than $1 per batch when using garden-grown flowers, or around $2 to $3 when purchasing fresh petals from local markets. Each batch produces approximately 50–75 ml of concentrated perfume oil, enough to last for months of daily use. Have you ever calculated how much you spend on designer fragrances each year? The difference might surprise you. An even simpler method utilized throughout the Arab world is the flower petal infusion technique using water or alcohol. This approach requires even fewer materials and can produce delightful fragrances for literally pennies per application. The process begins with a clean glass jar filled with freshly picked flower petals. The petals are then covered with either distilled water or a neutral alcohol like vodka. While alcohol produces a longer-lasting fragrance, water is often preferred for its gentleness and suitability for sensitive skin. The sealed jar is placed in a sunny window for 24 hours, allowing the sun's warmth to accelerate the release of aromatic compounds. After this initial period, the petals are gently mashed with a wooden spoon to release additional oils, then returned to soak for an additional 7 days. During this week-long infusion, the liquid gradually changes color as it absorbs the flower's essential oils and fragrance. The liquid is then carefully strained through fine cheesecloth, with the spent petals gently squeezed to extract every drop of scented water. For water-based infusions, a natural preservative like salt or a few drops of vitamin E oil may be added to extend shelf life. For alcohol-based versions, the perfume is already naturally preserved and ready for immediate use. The cost breakdown is remarkable. Assuming garden-grown flowers are used, the only expense is approximately $0.50 worth of alcohol or distilled water per 100 milliliter batch. Even when purchasing fresh petals from local markets, the total cost rarely exceeds $1 per batch. While slightly less concentrated than oil-based attars, these water or alcohol infusions create delightful everyday fragrances that can be spritzed liberally without worry about cost. The alcohol-based versions can last 4 to 6 months when stored properly, while water-based versions should be used within 2 to 3 weeks. Still plenty of time to enjoy their natural beauty. Have you ever tried making your own perfume using these simple methods? If not, you might be surprised by the quality of fragrance you can create for just pennies. Beyond these two fundamental techniques, Arab perfumers have developed ingenious methods for creating more complex, layered scents without increasing costs. One such approach is the bouquet technique, which combines perfume with incense for a multi-dimensional fragrance experience. Bouquet begins with small wood chips, most commonly agar wood, oud, which are soaked in scented oils created through the attar method. The chips are then dried and burned over charcoal, releasing a rich, complex aroma that fills the entire home. While genuine oud can be expensive, many households use affordable substitutes like sandalwood or even locally available fruit woods. The process starts with preparing a small charcoal disc, approximately 33 millimeters in diameter, which is lit until it glows red hot. This disc is then placed in a special incense burner called a mabkara, typically made of clay or metal. The soaked wood chips are placed on top of the hot charcoal, where they begin to smoke rather than burn, slowly releasing their complex fragrance. What makes this method so cost-effective is that a single batch of scented chips can provide fragrance for dozens of uses, with each session lasting 20 to 30 minutes. The total cost per use comes to approximately $0.25, an incredible value compared to commercial home fragrances that can cost $20 or more. Another clever technique is layering, where different fragrance formulations are applied to different parts of the body or clothing. This creates a complex, evolving scent profile that changes throughout the day as body heat activates different notes. By applying heavier oil-based attars to pulse points and lighter alcohol-based formulations to clothing, a sophisticated fragrance experience can be created using only homemade perfumes. In 2025, this layering technique has gained significant attention even outside the Arab world, with social media influencers demonstrating how combining affordable alternatives can create scent profiles rivaling expensive designer fragrances for pennies on the dollar. But perhaps the most fascinating cost-saving technique is the creation of perfumed accessories. Small fabric pouches filled with dried, scented flowers or wood chips are tucked into clothing drawers or hung in closets, continuously releasing subtle fragrance. These sachets cost virtually nothing to make, yet provide months of delicate scent, a perfect example of the resourcefulness at the heart of traditional Arab perfumery. How do these traditional techniques compare to modern commercial perfume production? The contrast is striking in both process and cost. Commercial perfume manufacturing begins in laboratories, where chemists create synthetic aroma compounds that mimic natural scents or create entirely new ones. These compounds are blended with alcohol, water, and fixatives in massive industrial mixers, then aged in steel tanks for weeks or months. Automated bottling lines fill and cap thousands of bottles per hour, which are then packaged in elaborate boxes with extensive marketing materials. The entire process is highly mechanized, energy-intensive, and requires substantial investment in equipment and facilities. The cost breakdown of a typical 100 designer perfume reveals the stark difference. Approximately 2 to 3 goes toward actual fragrance ingredients. $5 to $10 covers the bottle and packaging, and the remaining 85 plus is allocated to marketing, retail markup, and profit margins. In essence, consumers pay primarily for the brand name and marketing, not the fragrance itself. In contrast, traditional Arab perfumery invests the majority of its modest cost directly into quality ingredients. With minimal processing, no fancy packaging, and zero marketing expense, nearly 100% of the cost goes toward the elements that create the actual fragrance experience. The result? A $100 designer perfume might contain roughly the same amount of aromatic compounds as a 1-ton homemade attar. The difference is even more dramatic when comparing longevity. Because traditional oil-based attars contain no alcohol, they evaporate much more slowly, often lasting 8 to 12 hours on the skin, compared to 3 to 5 hours for many commercial alcohol-based perfumes. This remarkable value proposition explains why these traditional methods have survived for centuries despite the global dominance of commercial perfumery. Even in 2025, with endless fragrance options available, many Arab households continue to create their own perfumes, valuing both the cost savings and the connection to cultural heritage. The popularity of traditional Arab perfumery extends beyond cost savings. There's growing evidence that these natural fragrances offer significant advantages in terms of skin compatibility and environmental impact. Commercial perfumes typically contain dozens of synthetic ingredients, including phthalates, parabens, and synthetic musks, compounds that have been linked to various health concerns in recent studies. Additionally, the aerosol propellants and alcohol content in commercial fragrances can cause dryness and irritation for many users. Traditional Arab perfumes, by contrast, typically contain just 2 or 3 all-natural ingredients. The carrier oils actually moisturize the skin rather than drying it, while the natural aromatic compounds are often less likely to trigger sensitivities or allergic reactions. From an environmental perspective, the differences are equally significant. Commercial perfume production generates substantial carbon emissions from manufacturing, packaging, and global shipping. The synthetic compounds used in many fragrances can persist in waterways, potentially affecting aquatic ecosystems. Traditional perfumery has a minimal environmental footprint. Ingredients are often locally sourced, processing requires little to no energy, and there's virtually no packaging waste. The entire process epitomizes sustainability, operating as a nearly zero-waste system long before such concepts became fashionable. These benefits help explain why interest in traditional Arab perfumery has grown significantly in recent years, even among non-Arab consumers. In 2023, searches for natural perfume making increased by 143% on major search engines, while social media platforms saw a 267% increase in content related to traditional fragrance techniques in 2024. The appeal crosses cultural boundaries, attracting environmentally conscious consumers, natural beauty enthusiasts, and anyone seeking alternatives to the high cost of commercial fragrances. But can these ancient techniques truly compete with modern perfumery in today's marketplace? The influence of traditional Arab perfumery extends far beyond private homes. In recent years, several innovative businesses have emerged that combine these ancient techniques with modern marketing approaches, creating successful commercial enterprises while maintaining the core low-cost production methods. In Dubai's Al Karama market, entrepreneur Fatima Al-Hashimi launched Heritage Scents in 2022, a business that creates attars using traditional methods but packages them in sleek, modern bottles. Despite charging just $15 to $20 per bottle, compared to $70, $100 for comparable commercial fragrances, her profit margins exceed 70% due to the minimal production costs. By 2024, her business had expanded to 3 locations across the UAE, with online sales shipping to 27 countries worldwide. Similarly, in Marrakesh, Morocco, a cooperative of women perfumers called Rose Collective creates traditional rose-based perfumes using flowers grown in their community garden. Their products, priced at 12,018s, have found their way into boutique hotels and upscale gift shops throughout Morocco and beyond, providing sustainable income for dozens of families. These success stories demonstrate that the 4 pennies production methods can scale effectively, creating viable business models while maintaining affordability for consumers. The key difference from major commercial brands is the dramatically reduced markup. These businesses typically charge 3 to 4 times their production cost compared to the 20 to 30x markup common in the commercial perfume industry. Even more interesting is how these traditional methods are influencing mainstream perfumery. Several niche perfume houses in Europe have begun incorporating elements of Arab perfume making into their production, particularly the use of oil bases rather than alcohol, and the emphasis on natural ingredients. While these brands still command premium prices, they represent a growing recognition of the value inherent in these ancient techniques. In Kuwait, the Bin Rashid perfume family exemplifies how traditional methods can evolve without losing their essence. Their perfumery combines age-old attar-making processes with modern molecular analysis to ensure consistency across batches. Despite using equipment to analyze their formulations, the actual production remains hands-on and largely unchanged from techniques used centuries ago. Their mid-range perfumes, priced at $30–45, offer exceptional value compared to Western luxury brands, yet still provide healthy profit margins due to the fundamental efficiency of the production methods. So what can we learn from this remarkable tradition that creates luxury quality fragrances for pennies? The lessons extend far beyond perfumery itself. First, there's a powerful reminder about the hidden costs we often pay for branding and marketing. When a $100 designer perfume contains roughly the same fragrance compounds as a $1 homemade attar, it raises questions about value that apply to many consumer products. Second, these methods demonstrate how traditional knowledge often contains ingenious solutions to modern problems like sustainability and affordability. By looking to techniques refined over centuries, we frequently discover approaches that are simultaneously simpler, more efficient, and more environmentally sound than modern industrial processes. Perhaps most importantly, Arab perfumery represents the democratization of luxury. For centuries, these techniques have allowed people of modest means to enjoy fragrances of exceptional quality. A small but meaningful form of everyday luxury accessible to virtually anyone. In a world increasingly dominated by mass production and global brands, these traditional methods offer something profoundly different: the ability to create something truly personal, connected to nature and rooted in cultural heritage, all while saving money in the process. The next time you pass a perfume counter with its gleaming bottles and expensive price tags, remember that across the Arab world, families are creating fragrances of remarkable quality for just pennies per application. It's a tradition that has endured for over 1,000 years, and given its perfect balance of quality, cost, and sustainability, it's likely to continue for 1,000 more. From the ancient wisdom of Al-Kindi to modern kitchen perfumers creating custom scents, the story of Arab perfumery reminds us that true luxury isn't always about price tags. Sometimes it's found in the simple magic of flower petals, transforming into exquisite fragrance through methods accessible to anyone willing to learn. If you've enjoyed discovering how Arabs make perfume for pennies, you might also be interested in our upcoming video on traditional Arab soap-making techniques, another ancient craft that creates luxury quality products at a fraction of commercial costs. Don't forget to subscribe to Dubai Curious and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next exploration of traditional wisdom that saves money while preserving cultural heritage. What's your experience with homemade perfumes? Have you ever tried making your own? Let us know in the comments below and share your success stories or questions about traditional Arab perfumery.